This is our second video involving using the questions that we have just learned on solving equations. And this time we will have two examples involving the distributive property, combining like terms, and clearing fractions. So here's a case where the first question, which is, do I need to clear fractions, is going to apply, because what I'm going to need to do is multiply both sides by the least common denominator. Well, given that there's only one fraction here, that works out really nice. I'm going to have to multiply each term on each side of the equation by that denominator, which is 2. So this 1/2 times the 8v plus 4, that is actually one term because that's multiplication. And then we have negative 2v, that's a term here on the left-hand side as well. And then on the right-hand side, we simply have a 6. So let's go ahead and do our distribution. So it's 2 times 1/2 times this. Well, 2 times 1/2 is just 1. So those sort of cancel out, leaving our 8v plus 4. Then we're going to take 2 and multiply it by negative 2v, giving us a negative 4v. Then on the other side, we still have to multiply it by 2 as well to maintain our equality. What you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So 2 times 6 is 12. So here we have our fractions cleared. Now we just have to simplify one or both sides. So if we look at the left-hand side, we can see that we have this 8v and this negative 4v that are like terms. We combine those to get 4v. We bring down the plus 4, and the other side was already simplified. It's just 12. Now we have a two-step equation. So we just go through our process with that. But first, back to the questions. Is the variable just on, or is it on both sides or just one side? Well, it's not on both sides because here's the only v that we have, so it's already, in a sense, by itself. It's only on one side. So now we got to get rid of the plus 4 and the multiply by 4. To get rid of the plus 4, we are going to subtract 4 because that is the inverse operation. What you do to one side has to be the same as what you do to the other side. These will then zero out, and we will be left with 4v equals 8. So that was our do I need to add or subtract. Now I need to see if I can multiply or divide to get the variable by itself. And indeed, I can divide both sides by the coefficient of the variable, which in this case is 4. So I'm going to divide both sides by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1, leaving the v by itself. 8 divided by 4 is 2, and our equation is solved. The value of v, which makes this original statement true, is 2. Our second example is negative 58 equals negative 6 times the quantity 2n plus 7 minus the quantity 8n plus 4. In this example, we do not have any fractions, so we do not need to clear any fractions. And we do need, however, to simplify the right-hand side. This is already simplified on the left-hand side, but on the right-hand side, I need to do some distributing so that I can simplify. So the negative 6 goes to the 2n, and the negative 6 goes to the 7. Because I have a closed parentheses here, I stop that distribution. Then I have a second set of parentheses, and it has a subtract sign here. So that's really like a negative 1 that's being distributed. So I'm going to distribute that negative 1 to the 8n as well as to the positive 4. So here we have negative 58 on the left-hand side, which is already simplified. Now we got to simplify this side. Negative 6 times 2n is negative 12n. Negative 6 times 7 is negative 42. Then we take the negative 1 here and distribute it to the 8n, and negative 1 times 8n is negative 8n. And then negative 1 times positive 4 is negative 4. But I'm not finished with this question yet. While I have distributed, I now have to see if there's any like terms that I can combine. And indeed, I do have some like terms. I have a negative 12n and a negative 8n that can be combined. And I have a negative 42 and a negative 4 that can also be combined. So negative 58 on the left-hand side still. We take our negative 12n minus 8n, gives us negative 20n. Negative 42 minus 4 is negative 46. At this point, we need to go to the question in yellow, which is, are there variables on both sides? And we can see that our variable is only on one side, so we can skip that step and move down to, do I need to add or subtract to start isolating this variable? And indeed, I need to add 46 to both sides because addition in this case is the inverse operation of subtraction. And 46 does equal 46, so we're okay there. These two guys zero out, and we're left with negative 8. Pardon me, that is not correct. Negative 12 equals negative 20n. Now we go to the next question, which is, do I need to multiply or divide? Yes, I want to get rid of that 20 that is in front of the n, that negative 20, so that's multiplication, so I'm going to divide both sides by negative 20. Not by the n, just by the number in front. I want to leave the n over here. These negative 20s are going to cancel out. So on the right-hand side, I'm going to get my variable. On this side, negative divided by negative is positive. 12 divided by 20 is going to be 3 over 5. And that is how we will end this one, is with a fraction, 3 over 5, because it's already in lowest terms. To do this in your calculator, you would do alpha y equals, enter the negative 12 into the numerator, the negative 20 into the denominator, hit enter, and it should simplify to be 3 over 5. So here are two examples for applying the distributive property and combining like terms to end up with your solution to these two different equations here.